Welcome in my little tool temple. A while back, when I was making a backing plate for a small 4-jaw chuck, I had quite a lot of chatter problems, especially when using the boring bar. So I took apart these slides here and made some modifications, and now it's time to find out if these changes had a positive effect on my chatter problems. So I'm going to make a screw-on arbor for this drill chuck using the same 44mm bar stock that I used for making the backing plate, and this stuff is pretty hard. I guess that's it. So now let's all join hands and pray for a chatter-free day. And that concludes today's sermon. Let's start turning. Damn, rolling metal is on a roll today. If I remember correctly, I believe I used this tool in the backing plate video. So let's try this one as well. I'm running about 700 RPM. Very smooth. Maybe the best finish I ever got. That's kind of sad. But the noise was exactly the same as with the backing plate. I am skipping the 10mm drill this time, and I'm going straight to 21mm. Let's see if the frequency drive and the motor are strong enough to drill this hole at a fairly low frequency. So this is 30 Hertz, and that's about 300 RPM. I will try to tighten up the belt a bit more. The bolts that mount the electric motor to the bench worked themselves loose, so the belt wasn't as tight as it was supposed to be. Well, that was almost as slow as Brexit, but at least it got done. It might actually be quicker to first drill 10mm. The drill was cutting mostly on one side, so that's why the hole is so much bigger than 21mm. I need to bore this hole out to 22 millimeters, and it would be nice if this time the tip survives. This is the same insert as before, and as you can see there's a big chunk missing there. .600 RPM. I think last time I was running 800 RPM. Chatter. Alright, let's slow it down. This is 600. Still chatter. So that makes me a bit sad. It looks like I still got the same problem. I bet this won't have a positive effect on my chatter issues. It's going at least 1.5 centimeter deep. Over the complete length of the boring bore holder. So it looks like the tool post clamp is pulling the holder to the left. And now it's much better. How stupid is that? Well, I guess the devil is in the details. Oh. Still lots of chatter. And I even took the headstock apart and reseated it on the bed. I actually broke the clamp that mounts the headstock to the bed. It was actually pretty flimsy compared to the one used on the tailstock and on the slides. So that tip is a goner as well, just like the opposite side of the insert. All this freaking work for the same freaking result. I finally managed to get the hole deep enough and wide enough so I can continue with the next step, and that is cutting a groove near the end of the hole where the thread stops. And with all the chatter problems, I think that is going to be an almost impossible task. But I do have a new grooving tool from Banggood, obviously. and to it goes the honor to break a couple of tips on this hard piece of metal using this old chatter happy lathe. I could probably switch to audio only for this next part, but here we go. Damn. What do you think? Did the tip survive? Oh. I'm not going to touch that. It's smoking. I think it actually did. Well, I'm gonna play with this a little more, see what I can accomplish. After I realized that grooving is basically the same as parting off, I slowed down the lathe considerably, and so far the tool has been working wonderfully. Although I did manage to burn up one tip when I was running the lathe too fast. I'm not liking this blind machining, so I guess this will take a while. The tip here is only 1.5 millimeter wide. Almost grinding dust. Well, I'm finished cutting the groove, and once I slowed down the lathe it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Before I knew it, I maxed out the depth of the tool, and I was wondering why my cross slide was sticking while I was rubbing the tool against the inside of the work. In my defense, this is my first internal groove ever, although that's probably not a good excuse. Now I will have to bore out the hole to 26.8 millimeter, so it will fit the register on the spindle nose. And for this I ground a high-speed steel tool bit. I modified the right hand tool so it will fit inside the bore, and it has a lot of positive rake, and I'm hoping this will help with the chatter problems. I'm not sure if this actually is high-speed steel. It's a pretty old tool bit, it came with the lathe. It might actually predate high-speed steel. Well, let's see how this goes. This is a 400 RPM. And it's business as usual. Chatter, 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 and more chatter. Damn it. I'm now running only 150 RPM. So that works reasonably well. It's slow, but at least there's no chatter. Alright, I'll try to finish this up, but the camera is just too much in the way, so I will switch you guys off. Next step is cutting a chamfer, or the lead in for the thread. Maybe a little bit more, but that went pretty good. Maybe I'm actually learning something here. So that went a lot smoother than the last time, and no hand turning was needed. I also want to chamfer the other side next to the groove, and this is the best tool I could find for the job. It's a little 10mm thick boring bar, and I think I can regrind it to cut a 45-degree angle. To the grinder. That's another step finished. I just noticed that the workpiece got moved forward in the chuck, and when I started my grooving operation, it was still flush against the face of the chuck. The 26.8mm front register opening is still running concentric, so somewhere between the grooving operation and cutting this opening for the register, the workpiece moved forward. It actually might have happened during the grooving operation, as I was rubbing the shank of the tool against the inside of the bore. Well, I couldn't get it any tighter with this rather short chuck key. I might be making a bigger one at some point. So that isn't running concentric anymore. So I will bore it out again and settle for a sloppy thread as usual. I noticed that once I stop feeding in, it starts to chatter immediately. So that doesn't look too bad. It's pretty much concentric, and so is the front opening for the register. And the whole opening is now 22.25, which is actually pretty close to 7/8, and that is the hole size that was stamped on the side of that big tab I have. It's time for my weekly workout, and on this lathe this means sliding spindle threading done manually. This time I've decided to put the top slide at a 30-degree angle or 29-degree angle. Normally I don't do that because it's a lot of work to line the top slide up again. But since later on I need to cut a Jacob's taper anyway, it doesn't matter this time. So let's see how many tips I'll destroy this time. Setting the cross slide back to 0, dialing in a bit of a cut. That's a bit ambitious. So this is what I'm going to do for the next couple of hours. I will report back when something interesting is happening. Well, I'm happy to report that so far I haven't broken a tip. I've taken about 20 passes, and it's been pretty smooth so far. I even get some decent chips. Although sometimes I have the feeling that the tool is skipping or sliding over the workpiece and not cutting. So far all my cuts have been done single-handedly, but it is getting harder. Let's see if I can do this while standing behind the tripod. I can see nice chips coming off the cutter. My left hand is getting a little tired. But that was another pass finished. Battery's almost dead. I bought some knockoff batteries, and well, that's like throwing money away. They're absolutely crap. It's starting to sound like a pepper grinder, so I think the tip might be broken, or at least it is getting dull. Alright, let's inspect the tip. Looks like it's still there. Well, let's switch it out anyway. I turned the insert 120 degrees. Let's find out how this tip sounds. Whoa. It feels like I'm stuck. Maybe this tip isn't at exactly the same location. Things seem to be going sideways, so this is where I stop this video for now. I kinda had enough for now, and also I don't want to make a 40-minute long video. You know, long YouTube videos are like the toilet. It's fine for a while, and it can actually be pleasant, but after some time you just gotta get out of there. It's not a good place to fall asleep. If anyone has an idea about my shutter problems, please put it in the comments. Anyway, next video you will see if this is going to be a total failure or a huge success. You can place your bets now. Till then, to be continued.